Like everybody else in the video game universe, I have been playing Resident Evil 2 on my PlayStation 4. It is a very, very popular game. It won Best Game from the E3 critics last year. A lot of hype, a lot of expectation for this title. It's a remake of the classic Resident Evil 2 game, and it's surreal for me to be looping games like this, to have reviewed the original and then to carry forward years and years and I'm reviewing a remake of the original. But of course, everything has been updated, so it's not just static camera angles and tank-like controls, which used to drive me crazy. It's much more refined, and everything has been modeled and rendered in a much higher resolution, but it just feels a lot more tactile. It feels like you're in a physical world. Not that they did a bad job with the technology back in the day, but everything has just been really, really polished and tuned. Everything has been changed up a little bit. You're not going to get the same beat-by-beat scares as you're walking through hallways and stuff like that. They've mixed it up so that the timing is a little bit different. And of course, you've got full three-dimensional camera control, so you can look wherever you want. So the developers had to come up with some cool ways to freak you out. And one of the ways is zombies, of course, bashing through windows, which you can block off if you find some wood. You can sort of board up those windows and give yourself a little respite for a bit. But they'll be crashing through windows, and you'll see stuff falling out of ceilings. You're going to see the liquor running all over the place and be blind as hell, and you've got to creep by that character, especially because you're going to be running out of bullets, which is the big conceit of this game, is that you're always dealing with ammunition issues and you're always dealing with health issues, and all of that stuff works like you remember it. You find the different multicolored herbs and you can combine them, and it's funny, you use the herbs to feel better, but you can combine them and then you can heal yourself. You can find first aid spray, stuff like that. All of that stuff you run out of, and it's hard to replenish, and you're desperately looking around for the keys and the doors that you can pass through and all of the hidden areas that you can uncover and unlock so you can get the loot that will keep you alive. Because it truly is a survival game, you're basically really tasked with, managing the resources that you have and using them as wisely as you possibly can to exist for as long as you can until that infamous "you're dead" sign comes up. You know it's coming. You are going to die, and you're going to have to go back to those typewriters and start over again from certain areas and stuff. But what's incredible about the experience of this game is when you do survive and you have no bullets and you're in the red with your health and you're like, oh my God, I just need one of these plants to save me. And you're looking all over the damn place and you're doing everything you can to try to survive, and you do. And you just feel like, holy crap, I have really, really accomplished something. And that's why this series endures. That's why this series is so successful. And even though they've tried different things with the action stuff, this is really, truly a survival game. It leans into that in a heavy way. And for that, I think I really, really appreciated this game. I really dug the fact that it didn't veer away from its roots at all. It stuck to its guns. It gives you a core Resident Evil 2 experience in a much, much finer fidelity than you've ever experienced before. You get to play as both Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield, and they have their own separate campaigns and their own separate perspectives. Then you can play through it again and go and chase a bunch of other objectives, and you get different types of rewards. There's also all kinds of little bonus models and things like that, and concept art and things that you can unlock by accomplishing certain objectives within the game. You're going to run into that tyrant, that giant hulking unstoppable beast man that's chasing after you. You can plug him full of holes, but you're basically just wasting your ammunition because he does not stop. It's relentless, and they beefed that character up quite a bit, and it literally made me scream out loud when it was chasing after me, which is the sign of an incredible game.
Jesus Christ!
I do wish, as I navigate through Raccoon City and the police department, that I could interact with more objects. That's one of my quibbles with the game, and I used to have an issue with Resident Evil when I reviewed it originally, that you were always just looking around in environments, but you could only ever interact with certain specific objects that would be highlighted for you. That exists and persists in this 2019 version, and I gotta say, it's a little bit strange because we live in an era where you can have massive open world games and you can pick up and almost put anything you want to into your pocket, and there's lots of titles that we can point to that showcase that. I feel like Resident Evil 2 has been sort of hemmed in a little bit because it is a remake. But even still, as it stands right now, it's a phenomenal game, and it's made with such love and style. It sounds incredible. It plays super tight. It's a great homage to the classic game, but it feels contemporary, it feels modern, and it feels satisfying, and it's done with such panache and such style. I mean, it's a tremendous gift, especially for longtime fans. But I think even if you've never jumped into Resident Evil before, this is an incredible place to start. The story is tight. You know, it still has some cheesiness about it, but it's not as cheesy. So even if this is your first Resident Evil, you're going to get a ton out of it. And if you played these games all the way along, and if you loved Resident Evil 2 when it came out, you're going to be in heaven. I'm going to give Resident Evil 2 a 9 out of 10.